Hey, how's it going, YouTube? So today we're going to be taking a look at how much my $43,000 portfolio has earned us in dividends over the last month. So what we're going to do is hop over here on the computer so you guys can follow along in real time. We'll kind of talk a little bit about how the portfolio is doing. We'll take a look at some of these different stocks that paid out this last month and obviously add them up total to see how much we've made. And I actually have a dividend tracker where I plug all these numbers in so you can see how much we made this month, this quarter, and also this year too. So it's kind of exciting. So this is our main portfolio that we use. This is with M1 Finance. So you can see right over here, we're sitting at $42,966. I believe this is actually the highest the portfolio has ever been while recording, which is really cool. You can see over here in the last day, we've actually earned some dividends, so that's really nice. I'm curious which stocks actually went ex-dividend the other day, so we can actually figure out which one is going to be paying that out. Actually, I think this is NRZ, so this is going to be for next month, so that's actually already cool. So over the last day, since the recording, obviously, so you can see here we've gained $180 so far, 20 of which was dividends. In the last week, we've earned $481, which is great. Let's see, the last month we're up $1,700, which is really cool. I like that. And then over the last quarter, we're up almost $2,400, a little over $2,400, $112 of which was actually dividends that we've earned, which is great. And this is why I love investing regardless of how the market's doing. I know sometimes people get a little afraid when like the market is down and, you know, everything is looking red for the most part. But yeah, a couple months ago, the portfolio was not doing as hot because, yeah, a lot of the stocks we were holding were quite down. So you can see here, back in April, we had 27,990. So huge jump over the last quarter. Last quarter has definitely been really, really good for us as far as what we could put in, how it's growing and everything too. Over last year, we're up almost $6,600, almost $400 in dividends over the last year, which is really cool. So that means we're getting inching closer to $500 in the year, which, you know, is halfway to getting 1,000 for the whole year, and then, you know, keeping track of these goals that we're trying to hit, right? Like, it kind of gets us excited because if we're getting 400 this year, just imagine what we're going to get next year and the year after. And it's really cool to see that process kind of move forward. And, you know, that's why I tell people, you know, if you're subscribed, you can see these videos every once in a while and you can see how it's progressing, how it's moving forward. And then for our all time, we're up about 7,255. Now, just in case you're not too familiar, so this is right over here. This is all of our gains and losses, essentially, for anything that we've also sold in the past, as well as any dividends that we've earned. Because you can see in our all-time, we've earned $446 in dividends. I'll show you our unrealized gains too, just for those who maybe want to know. So effectively, there are some stocks where I've actually sold them for a profit, or sometimes even for a loss, and they're still reflected in this total number, which I personally like because it gives me more ideas of where I am in total, whether I've sold or, you know, held on for something long term. And you could also see here, I always like to show, if I scroll down just a little bit so my head's not in the way, we started this portfolio back in January 23rd of 2019 with $100. Highly recommended if you're watching and need to get started with investing. I love M1 Finance, but there's a ton of platforms out there, obviously. But if you want to check out M1 Finance, I'll have them in the show notes down below. It does help support out the channel financially, but it gets you started with a really cool app. And right now they're still doing a bonus of $30 if you put in 1,000 to open up your account, I believe. And that will get you started with your account, and you can start investing and having an account that looks like this. And if you want tools for setting up your account exactly like this, on my main channel, I'll actually have a link down below so you guys can go ahead and go through the process of learning how to use the app if you're curious about it. But beyond that, let's go ahead and take a look and see where we're at right now. So unrealized gains, we're at almost $5,800, so we're up about 15.58%. Again, the only reason that this is different is this is not accounting for the dividends and also for the stocks that I've sold in the past for a profit. You can see here, if we go to unrealized gains, we got Discover's our best performer right now, and Airbnb is currently our worst, but it's definitely coming back up a little bit. And yes, I do know that Airbnb does not give out dividends, so don't worry about that. So we talk about it here on the channel all the time, actually. My goal is in about 15 years to use this money. I want to make way more than $1,000 a month. I'm looking at like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And so if I have some of these companies that don't pay dividends today, my hope is that they do in about 15 years. And if they don't, hopefully the growth is good enough where I can sell it, make all that nice profit, and then use that money to buy into dividend stocks. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how we did for this last month. So I'm going to kind of scroll down here just a little bit, make sure everything is in sight. So on the very first day of the month, we got June 1st here. We got paid out from Visa for a total of $1.18. Now, Visa pays a very low dividend yield, which means that even with having a good chunk of money in there, we're not earning a lot of dividends, but it has pretty steady growth. And I'm hoping that this company does do some really nice dividend increases over the next year or two, or next couple of years, so that way my yield on cost keeps going up and up. So next up here, we can see on the 3rd, we actually got paid out from Discover for $4.25. Now, I actually bought them before they had a really great rally, so I think I'm up almost a little over 100% on this stock. So my dividend yield is actually around like 3 point something percent, and I think right now the yield is 1.5. So I'm in it at a good price point. So, but if I buy more, obviously my yield cost is going to go down. So next up, we got on June 8th, we had Johnson & Johnson. Now, I don't actually own this stock anymore in my portfolio. I actually sold all my health stocks entirely. And so for this right here, we still got paid out even though I sold, because if you hold it past the record date, in case you're not too familiar, let me actually go into Seeking Alpha just so you kind of get an idea here. Look, we're teaching here while we're going through this process. So in case you're not too familiar, there's a couple different dates that are really important for investing. So there's the ex-dividend date, which means you want to make sure that you've bought any additional stocks for this portfolio or for this stock entirely before this date. So for this example, for Apple, May 7th, you want to have any stocks that you want to buy additionally of by the 6th. The payout date is the day that they actually pay out. The record date, this is an important date that most people aren't aware of. So this is the day that they actually record how many people, and how many shares that they own of the company. So effectively, between the 7th of May and the 10th of May, if you sold right over here, if like you sold your stock, this is the part where you're not going to get the dividend then if they are recording on the 10th. So if you sell on the 7th, 8th, or 9th, you're out of luck on that 10th, and I believe even the 10th. So if you're planning on selling a stock and the record date is like a day away, depending on how you feel, maybe holding on to it just an extra day or two to be able to claim the dividends is going to be great, because if you look, their record date is the 10th and then their payout date is the 13th. So there's a couple days in between that as well, which means if you sold on the 11th, you will still get paid out that dividend, just in case you didn't know that. The declare date is the date that they actually declared that dividend going through. So now you know about that a little bit more. How cool. So anyways, I don't have Johnson & Johnson anymore, but I'm still happy for that 573. On June 10th, we got paid out from Microsoft. Now, Microsoft has a special place in my heart. They're actually the first company I ever invested in back in 2011 when I started. And then when I started this M1 Finance portfolio, I also bought into Microsoft, and they were the first dividend to pay me out in this portfolio. So you can see here we earned a total of $7.93. I'll actually show you if I can recall. I'll maybe go back and see how much I got paid out the very first time from them. I know how much it is, but I'll show you guys. Next up is Next Era Energy. On the 15th of the month, we got paid out $8.46. And then my current favorite stock right now to be buying into for dividends got paid on June 17th. I don't know why it showed it twice. I actually wanted to send M1 Finance an email about this. I don't know if this is like qualified dividends and non-qualified dividends, and maybe that's why they're splitting it up. But I have to look more into that and learn why they're doing the split up. But you can see here, one of them was a payout for $9.64, and the other one was $1.65. Then on the 25th, we got paid out from Lockheed Martin. Right over here, we got paid out $8.59. I bought into them quite a bit in the fall of 2020 because they were down pretty significantly in my portfolio. I was actually dollar cost averaging pretty heavily with them. And so now it's nice that, one, they're back up overall, but I was able to buy into them at a lower cost. So my yield is going to be better now as well, too, which is really nice. And then you can see here, Ross technically paid me twice as well too. So you can see here, there's two lines for Ross. One of them was for $3.71, and the other one was for 11 cents. Again, Ross also pays a very low yield in comparison, similar to Verizon or for Visa, like we talked about earlier. But I do like the company. I see a lot of great potential for the value of the stock going up, and then hopefully they're going to increase their dividend long term as well. And then also on the 30th, we got paid out from Digital Realty Trust. Right over here, we got paid out $7.76, which is really, really cool. Now I also have a retirement account that I house as well too, that we earn some dividends on as well too, but we only get them pretty much like once a quarter, so it's not very crazy when it comes to it. So right over here, this is my Vanguard portfolio. So this is my account right over here. So on the 28th of June, we got paid out from our Vanguard S&P 500 index. So this is technically ticker number VFIAX. This is effectively the same as VOO for a lot of people out there who are big fans of that, such as myself. I'm actually a fan, but it's just a different symbol here. We actually got paid out, it's probably a little hard to see here, but we actually got paid out $172.82 on this. Let me see if I can switch over to my wife's and see how much she had for hers. All right, and then for her account right over here, you can see, so same exact ticker and everything else as well. Hers is actually in a Roth right now as well. So hers has earned her $43.67. Obviously, we are combining them since they are our income together. So now what we're gonna do is actually go to our dividend tracker and have all this information already plugged in. So this is my dividend tracker. If you've never seen it before, I showed here on the channel quite often. Let me see if I could zoom out for a second so you can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. If you're watching on a video or on a phone, I apologize. But I'm just kind of showing from an outside perspective, and then I'm going to zoom back in here. So you can see really quick before I continue to zoom back in that our monthly average right now on M1 Finance, because I'm going to show you Vanguard's account and I'm going to show you both of them combined because I think it's always fun to do. So our monthly average is $38.01 with our M1 Finance earnings, which is really, really cool. And we've earned a total, I can't even see if I could show you, $420 so far. Now that's a little different than what it shows for our earned dividends, just because I don't count the earned dividends until it's officially in the account. But earned dividends is anything past that record date that we talked about earlier. So right over here, you're going to see some stuff. So we're going to kind of like look over this and talk a little bit about this. Also, if you want this dividend tracker, at least as of right now, I'm still having it for free. I'll have a link for it in the show notes down below. It takes you to a thing to, put in your email, and then I'll send it to you. It's all free. I don't really bother you too much with emails, but sometimes I'll send you some stuff that I find interesting. But if you want to get it for free, you are welcome to. So right over here, you can see in June, a total of $59.01 is what we earned for the dividends in June. So that is pretty fantastic. Now, it is not our best month ever. Our best month ever was actually last quarter, the third month of the last quarter. In case you're not familiar, most of these companies that pay out dividends pay out every quarter. So usually the companies that pay out in March are the same ones that pay out in June, that pay out in September. It's a weird line. And then also in October. So like that's kind of like the path they take. And then same thing with like companies that pay in January, pay in April, pay in July and October, and then so on and so forth. So just kind of, something to keep in mind. We're doing a lot of learning here, right? So the way I like to do some comparisons here is a couple different things. One is compared to last year. So you can see here, last year we made $14.53, which was a great month last year for what we had in the account. And then the year prior to that was only 3 cents. So obviously even better. And I'm pretty sure that 3 cents was Microsoft. But that wasn't the first payout, but it was Microsoft. And then that was an interesting sound. So the other thing I really like to look at too is, okay, what did we do the same month, like the third month of the last quarter, because that's what we're in. So that would be March of 2021. Now, if you look over here, March of 2021, let me zoom in actually a little bit more. That actually looks a little bit nicer. Okay, if I'm off screen a little bit, I do apologize for that. So March of 2021, we actually had a total of $63.93. So we actually dropped. So this happened as well for pretty much this whole quarter. This whole quarter, if you compare it to last quarter, it was actually quote unquote worse. But part of the reason for that is because I did restructure the portfolio a little bit. I sold out a lot of the companies that were paying out dividends. and really focusing in on either companies that were like fully focused on growth, or had some good growth and some really good dividend increases, because some of the companies I were holding on to were companies that maybe were closer to like 3-4% yields, but were slow increases every year. So they were increasing it by like 1 to 2%, and that really wasn't what I wanted, and I don't need the dividends technically today. So I wanted to kind of postpone that. So that's why you see a drop. I'm pretty sure, based off of what I'm already expecting for July, which is over here, it's already going to surpass from January. So we're going to see an uptick again, like we have been seeing pretty much this whole time. Because if you look at this chart right over here, you can see that usually, like, if you compare, first month of quarter one and first month of quarter two, obviously that was a drop there, but then you can just start seeing right over here, July, which is the first month of the next quarter, was up, and then October was up, and then January again was up again, and then April it slowed down a little bit. But from here on out, we should be seeing increases from the months prior. We should start hitting some new records as well, because our biggest record for one single month with M1 Finance was $63.96 or 93 cents. So there was that total there. So a little bit of a down on that one, but no worries. I believe that September will definitely outshine what we did in March. So it'll be the best third month of a quarter, at that point as well. So in total right now, you can see here, let me move this out of the way just a little bit and kind of go here. So far, obviously we've gone through 2 quarters so far in 2021, and we've earned so far a total of $228.05. We've already surpassed how much we made in 2020 in dividends, and we're halfway through the year. So you can see how this ball really starts to roll down the hill and build up faster and faster as you start putting more money in, start getting these dividends, reinvest the dividends because that's important, and then it just keeps tacking on right there. So you can see Q2 we totaled up at 106.04, which is obviously lower than our Q1, but we just talked about why that is. But still, nonetheless, we are dominating what we did last year in Q2 from 23.88, and then from Q2 of 2019, which was 67 cents. So, if you ever feel like a certain way when you're like, I want to get started, but I only have like $100 or $300 or $400, like, just get started. Put your money in, get the ball rolling, because it's not going to happen if you don't put your money in. Like, it's really not going to. And the more you keep putting money in, the more you keep watching videos like this and other people on like YouTube and stuff like that, you'll get more excited and more energy to want to like continue going down that path. I can promise you, like, I've seen a lot of people do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at Vanguard really quick here. So with Vanguard, we are averaging, can I zoom out here really quick? So $68.95. We've actually earned a total of $1,842 on that. And then if we zoom in here, you could see, I lost my marker somewhere. This marker thing kind of works funky when I zoom in and out of stuff. So you can see here in total between our two accounts, we've earned $216.49. If we look at the year prior, we earned $201. So we have a decent increase, not as much as I was kind of hoping for, but still nonetheless. If you look at 2019, it's a big increase from 2019. And then if we look at the last quarter, which was March, you'll see that we earned $197. So pretty decent increase in comparison to the the last quarter. Now, because Vanguard only pays out once a quarter with the funds we have, that's why these ones are crossed off or essentially put in at $0, because we just don't earn any dividends from them. So the next one for this one is going to be all the way in September, and then usually December is going to be the nice one, because we have a few funds that pay out once a year, and that's usually at the end. And then let's kind of combine all of this and see where we're at. So right over here, so in total for this last month, this is exactly what we made in total. $275.50. Pretty awesome. Compare that to last year at $215, way better increase. And then from the 2019, where we had $152. Compare that to the last month of last quarter, which was $261.11, which is pretty gnarly there. And then we could see right over here our total for 2021 thus far between my M1 Finance account and my Vanguard account. We are sitting at $641.72. If you look at what we did all of last year, we were at $963. So being at halfway through the year and where we're at now, we're definitely poised to really overtake what we did in 2020. And I for sure we're gonna hit over 1,000. Like, there's no doubt about it. But here's a really cool thing too. Let me see if I can swipe across this. Look how much we're making. Oh, my face is perfectly on it. How weird. Okay, let me see if I could like switch over. This is how much we're making monthly average between my retirement account and my taxable account as well. We're making on average $106.95 so far for 2021 because we've been through 6 months and we've been earning obviously over $600 so far in the year, which breaks it a little over $100 every single month. Now, obviously, our goals are to get closer to $1,000 a month, and then beyond that, way beyond. We talked about it in previous videos. And if you actually want to see the videos where we talked about going beyond $1,000 a month, I want you to actually click this next video right over here so you can keep on learning and growing with your investing. My name is Dennis, and I'll see you in that next video.